My wife wanted to open our marriage after I came to know about her affair with her coworker. I always believed that marriage was built on trust. For 7 years, I poured my heart and soul into my relationship with Sarah. She was my best friend, my confidant, the woman I thought I'd grow old with. We met during our senior year of college at a mutual friend's party. She was standing by the snack table, wearing a yellow dress that seemed to radiate warmth. Her laugh carried across the room, and I was drawn to her like a moth to a flame. She wasn't just beautiful, she was magnetic. We talked for hours that night, and by the time the party ended, I felt like I'd known her forever. Our connection was instant and intense. We started dating soon after and were inseparable. Sarah had this way of making everything feel like an adventure, whether it was a spontaneous road trip or simply cooking dinner together in our tiny apartment. Those early days were some of the best of my life. After graduation, life got busier. I landed a corporate job, and she worked her way up in marketing. Despite the stress, we always found time for each other. Friday nights were sacred, reserved for us time. We'd binge watch our favorite shows, share a bottle of wine, and laugh until our stomachs hurt. Those moments felt like home, like nothing could ever go wrong. Our wedding day was a dream. Sarah walked down the aisle with tears in her eyes, and I remember thinking, this is it. This is the happiest I'll ever be. And for years, I believed that. We weren't perfect, no couple is, but we worked through our problems. At least, that's what I thought. But life has a cruel way of revealing hidden truths when you least expect it. It all started subtly. Sarah had recently joined a new company, a step up in her career. She was excited about the role, constantly talking about her new team and the projects she was working on. I was genuinely happy for her, proud even. She deserved success after working so hard for it. But as weeks turned into months, I started noticing changes. She began working late more often, claiming it was part of adjusting to her new responsibilities. At first, I didn't mind. I trusted her completely, but then the late nights turned into weekends spent catching up on work. She'd come home distracted, glued to her phone, her laughter reserved for whoever was on the other side of the screen. I tried to be understanding. I told myself it was just a phase, that she'd eventually settle into a routine. But the emotional distance between us grew with each passing day. Conversations became strained, as if we were strangers trying to make small talk. The intimacy we once shared, the inside jokes, the stolen kisses, the quiet moments of connection, was gone. The breaking point came one evening when she left her phone unattended on the kitchen counter. A message popped up from someone named Ryan. Curiosity got the better of me, and I opened it. What I found shattered my world. The texts were flirty, filled with inside jokes and emojis I hadn't seen her use in years. My stomach churned as I scrolled further, uncovering messages that left no room for doubt. They had been meeting outside of work, sharing moments I thought were reserved for us. My hands shook as I put the phone down, the weight of betrayal settling over me like a heavy fog. When Sarah came out of the shower, I confronted her. "Who's Ryan?" I asked, my voice trembling. She froze, her eyes wide with guilt. "He's just a coworker," she said, but her voice lacked conviction. "Don't lie to me, Sarah." I saw the messages. Her shoulders slumped, and she let out a sigh, as if she had been waiting for this moment. "It's not what you think," she started, but her words felt hollow. "I care about him, but it doesn't mean I don't love you." I stared at her, incredulous. "You care about him? We're married, Sarah. You don't get to care about someone else like that." And then she said it, the words that shattered whatever hope I had left. "Maybe we should consider opening our marriage." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "You think that's the solution? To let you keep seeing him while I sit here like a fool?" "No, Sarah, that's not happening." Her expression hardened. "It's not just about him. Maybe we've grown apart, and this could be a way to fix things." "Fix things?" I repeated, laughing bitterly. "By destroying what little we have left. If that's what you want, then I'm done. I'm not sharing my wife with anyone." For the first time in our marriage, I slept in the guest room. The bed felt foreign, and I spent the night staring at the ceiling, replaying our argument in my head. Memories of happier times haunted me, and I wondered how we had ended up here. The next few days were unbearable. Sarah acted like nothing had happened, going about her routine as if she hadn't just torn my heart out. I couldn't understand how she could be so casual, so unaffected, while I felt like I was drowning. Then, one evening, she came home earlier than usual. Her face was pale, her eyes red from crying. She sat across from me at the kitchen table, her hands trembling. "Ryan doesn't want to be with me," she admitted, her voice barely above a whisper. I didn't know how to respond. Part of me felt vindicated, he was never going to leave his life for her. But another part of me felt even more betrayed. "So now that he's out of the picture, you want to come back to me?" Tears streamed down her face. "I know I've messed up. I made a mistake, and I'll regret it for the rest of my life. Please, give me another chance. I'll do whatever it takes to fix this." I stared at her, trying to find even a shred of the woman I once loved. But all I could see was someone who had chosen to break our vows, someone who only wanted me now that her backup plan had failed. "I can't," I said, my voice cold and resolute. "You didn't make a mistake, Sarah. A mistake is something you do once. You made a choice, over and over again. And now you're asking me to forget all of that because things didn't work out with him? I deserve better than this." She broke down completely, sobbing uncontrollably. But her tears didn't move me. They felt like an afterthought, a reaction to her loss rather than genuine remorse for what she had done to me. The divorce process was messy, as divorces often are. She fought to keep the house, while I fought for closure. Friends and family weighed in, some urging me to reconsider, others supporting my decision. But in the end, it wasn't about them. It was about me and what I needed to heal. In the months that followed, I went through a whirlwind of emotions, grief, anger, even guilt. Therapy helped. I started seeing a counselor who helped me process the pain and rebuild my sense of self. Slowly but surely, I began to move on. I learned to find joy in small things again. Reading a book in a quiet cafe, jogging through the park at dawn, and reconnecting with old friends I had neglected in the chaos of trying to salvage my marriage. Every step forward felt like reclaiming a piece of myself that I had lost. There were moments when the loneliness was overwhelming, and I questioned whether I had made the right choice. But deep down, I knew I couldn't rebuild my life on broken trust. The day the divorce was finalized, I felt a strange mix of emotions. There was sadness, of course, but also a sense of relief. I was finally free from the constant doubt, the sleepless nights, and the nagging voice in my head that wondered if I could ever trust her again. I packed my things and moved into a new apartment. It was small but cozy, and it felt like a blank slate, a place where I could start over. In the weeks that followed, I focused on myself. I joined a gym, something I had always wanted to do but never found the time for. I started cooking for myself, experimenting with recipes and rediscovering my love for food. I even picked up painting, a hobby I hadn't touched since college. It was therapeutic, watching the colors blend and take shape on the canvas. It reminded me that even something messy could become beautiful with time and effort. One day, while browsing a local bookstore, I struck up a conversation with a woman named Emma. She was browsing the same aisle, and we bonded over our shared love of classic literature. She was kind, with a warm smile and a laugh that was genuine. We exchanged numbers, and for the first time in a long time, I felt a spark of excitement. I wasn't ready to dive into anything serious, but the idea of opening myself up to new connections was liberating. Sarah had taught me a painful lesson, one I'll carry with me for the rest of my life. But she also gave me the courage to walk away, to choose myself when staying would have meant losing who I was. Now, as I sit in my new apartment, surrounded by the beginnings of a fresh start, I feel something I haven't felt in a long time: hope. Hope that one day, I'll find someone who values loyalty as much as I do. Someone who won't see love as something to be shared with others, but as a sacred bond between two people. Until then, I'll keep moving forward, one step at a time.